and I from Washington down to St. Pete to join Laura in the warehouse here. So for those of you who do not know, to my right is my friend and cohort, Carrie Adams. She is not going to be on the screen very much because she's going back to the office and she'll be manning the chat. And of course, you've always heard it said that she needs no introduction, but it's a true pleasure for me to introduce you, Laura Bryant, who is going to host this for us. So, Carrie, do you have any words of wisdom as far as muting and the chat? And so forth?
Yeah, just please mute yourselves because, as you all know, that background noise can be very disruptive. But if you have questions, you can unmute yourself and ask a question or put it in the chat and I'll interrupt them. But yeah, we want to respond to what you want to know.
Yeah. And often when somebody has a question, somebody else has the same question.
Right.
But it's not, if I'm, I get going. So if I'm just talking and you don't want to interrupt me, put it in the chat to Carrie. She'll aggregate all the questions. I always stop after a section and say, are there any questions? So she'll read off any questions she got in the chat, and anybody who has another question then. We tried to be really organized this time.
We're very organized. It's kind of a, this is a little smaller showing. We're very specific.
And the website's really complete.
The website's complete.
Very complete information.
So let's tell them a little bit about that. While you are watching us, if you are interested, please go to Great Yarn's website. It's www.greatyarns.com. Click on events, and then right underneath it will be the 2023 Prism Zoom. And when you click on that, it's going to bring up photographs of everything that Laura's going to show you today and color options, etc. If color options are not there, Laura will be talking about how to order those. If you're interested in prices and so forth, they're there. But if you want me to remind you, I have that information here as well.
And the sizing, we haven't done that before. We have done the sizing on the website so you can see how the patterns are sized. Remembering that we always can make an adjustment if you're in between sizes or you need a bigger one or a smaller one or whatever. We can always help you figure that out.
I'm just going to add a little side note. For those of you on Zoom that are going to our pre-cruise, because there's quite a few of you, the pre-cruise is all different stuff.
It is.
Yes.
It's very specific just to you going and doing that. So just in case you're wondering, well, no. All right, I'm going to go that way.
So having said all of that, everybody, here's Laura.
Hi, guys. Nice to see you. Thanks once again for coming out. Don't go away, Fontel. You don't have to go away. Just you can be my Vanna White.
All right, I am Vanna White.
So the first yarn we're going to talk about is Athena, and this is a yarn that we had and featured a number of years ago. In fact, it was there was an Anna Sui design in Vogue Knitting that was extremely popular, and then that kind of actually we thought that we didn't have anymore, and then when we sold our other building and consolidated everything into this building, lo and behold, I found a box of it. So I designed a few things in Athena so that are fresher and newer, and we're going to show you those. Before I start, though, I want to tell you about this kind of magical yarn that Athena is. So it's quite thick, and it's a cotton. What's next to your skin is cotton, and it's very silky feeling, very, very soft and silky. And if you can see, the end of this is a little white dot. Well, it's a knitted cotton cover on a spun nylon core. So I'm going to show you this by pulling the core right out of the yarn. So that's what makes the yarn round, is this nylon cord. Also makes it very bouncy. When you're burying your ends, you can do this, cut the core off, pull the cover back down, and it becomes flat. And then, whoops, there it is. I can feel exactly where the core starts.
Yeah, for sure.
So you can now start your row. I mean, I would do this at the end when you go to bury the end. Pull it out to that place. Now you can bury that end, and it's a much flatter, less bulky thing to be burying. So that's a little tip, and also kind of goes
It's
for
very clever.
how cool the yarn is.
It's going to be easier actually to thread this onto your tapestry needle as well. You're just
Also,
going to fold it
that's right.
flat over that and stick it through the hole.
That's right. So
So,
personally, I always leave a really long tail. What I do, there's always hints from Laura. So what I do is I'll have a really long tail, maybe this long. So I take that tail and I go back and forth like that. And then I just tie it in a little loose knot. And then I make my slip knot and begin my cast on there, leaving this the whole time.
clever. Okay.
Now, that's what you can use to seam without having to bury a new strand. Every time you have another cut end, what do you have? More opportunity for them to pop out. So there's that trick. So the first thing that we're going to show you is kind of a remake of that Anna Sui shrug. Okay, I'm back now. Somehow I got muted. Carrie, did you do that? No? Okay, well, somebody somehow managed to mute me, but fortunately, I now don't have to run around there. I have this handy little speaker that I can just hit. So, okay, the Anna Sui piece was a lot like this in the front. It was very, very short in the back, like this short, cropped short. And that's a very young look. That's not necessarily what we want to do. So I remade it, and it's still a big rectangle in a very fun, easy lace stitch. But instead of just making it a rectangle, when I got to what would be the side seam, not that there is one, but what would mark the side, I just began increasing. So this rectangle, instead of going like this, increases along here. So you get this really nice bottom edge. And it's long and it's fun.
And it covers what you
And
want.
it covers what you want it to cover. And it's a really good pop-on piece. The sleeves are left on open stitches and a temporary cast on. So you go right to there. It's no seaming. You pick it up and you knit the sleeve down. I don't like to knit personally on small. Oh, I did. I was going to say, I don't like to knit on small circular needles. Just the way that I knit, 16-inch needles aren't fun for me. But what I did was I had two needles of the same size and I just went from one to the other to the other. So I knit it circularly. So this had 0 sewing to be done. All you had to do was bury the ends on whatever, wherever you had to join new yarn.
Recording in progress.
Okay. All right. So are you guys getting like a reverb? Does it? Yes, you're getting a reverberation.
Okay, that's better.
Okay,
I think it's gone now.
I think so too. That was a little weird.
Yeah,
We
that
have-
was good.
We
Oh,
have
yeah.
both
You never know
we have
what's gonna happen.
in our machine, apparently. Okay, so this takes I forget.
It takes
How-
6, 7, or 8.
No, 7, 10, or 11. Athena lace. Oh,
Sure.
yeah, 6, 7, 8.
Pretty.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what I was looking at. Oh, I was looking at the other sweater.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So 6, 7, or 8 Athena, and Athena is I mean that's $114 for the small size, $133 for the medium, and $152 for the large. That's a lot of
It is.
really good looking sweater for the money.
And this is
And-
the Athena lace cardi.
What?
This is the Athena lace cardi.
Yes,
Okay. Thank
yes,
you.
Athena lace cardi. And why I started with that one, I don't know. It's just how it happened. We had the other one to be first, but there you are. So this is what we did first. This is a great trans-seasonal piece. This is a great trans-seasonal yarn. And because you're on an 11 needle, it's a fast knit. It's only a four row lace repeat. So easy to do. It does like to be blocked because the pattern stitch really blooms when you block it. It looks a little, you're looking at it and saying, it's not going to be big enough. This ain't going to work. Yeah, it does. It just needs to be blocked. So are there any questions about this? And these are all the colors that are available, and they're all on the website.
Beautiful.
So somebody's phone is cracking.
Uh-oh.
That's mine. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So are there any questions about this? Nope. Okay.
It's beautiful.
It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty straightforward. And of course, see, I love this kind of color. As you can see, I used it in this one too. I love this green. I happen to really love this green. So, but you know, in any of these neutrals, it would be a very usable sweater. I mean, I don't know how many of you live in climates like mine where it's really hot until you walk into a restaurant and then it's really cold. So I find myself wanting this kind of thing a lot often because, well, I mean, we even had it at lunch. It was a little cold.
Yes.
You guys had long sleeves on. I didn't,
Yeah.
and I stupidly didn't bring something
It's
for
just
my
a lovely
shoulders.
little wrap. You just
Yeah.
put it on and you're covered. So.
Yep. And I like the sleeve down to here, but it could be a long sleeve if you wanted. That would just be one more skein of yarn, I think.
Okay.
And the sleeve is not shaped. It's just it's the same size rib all the way down. Oh, I lied. I did go back and forth and seamed it. My seaming is so good that you can't tell.
Oh, all right.
But you could absolutely do it circularly. So.
Would you be able to, oh, perfect. I was going to say, hold it a little closer to camera so we can see the lace pattern.
Yep.
Oh, that's really nice.
It's called the Arrowhead Lace, and it's a 4-row repeat. And I think it's a 4-row repeat. At any rate, it is a really nice pattern stitch. And it's perfect for this yarn because it really relies on, it's very open and it really relies on seeing the yarn, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So having that nice round thick yarn really does a good job.
I love this. All three of us had this on earlier and it was just so cute on all of us. I absolutely love this. And I love that color.
So some of these colors are true solids. This one is this one and this one. And the other colors are all what I call layers colors. And that means that they've gone through 2 dye baths. So there's one dye bath of a color and then another one over the top of it. And the one that probably shows that the best is this. And if I hold it closer, you can see that there's an orange undertone. That's the first dye. And then it's dyed with pink over the top of that. So it has a more, I don't know, there's more depth to the color. And this next piece uses, these are all layers colors now, as was this one. This is also a layers color, but this is not so different because it's a warm gold yellow and then an avocado over the top.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't get quite the difference.
Yeah, like doing some of these that are really toned.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this next one started with the one that Fontel is wearing. And this is, again, a great trans-seasonal jacket. It's a little bit kimono styled. It's quite boxy and generous. Has a boxy, generous sleeve. So whatever you're wearing looks great under it. I mean, Fontel has actually, you know, sleeves. And there's plenty of room for them. And the cuffs peek out, and that's kind of adorable. It's not meant to be a full-length sleeve, although because we knit our own, you always have the option to make it a full-length sleeve if you want to. This is called the Crest of the Wave. And I think it's a bigger pattern stitch than, might only be 4 rows. This might only be 4 rows. It's a little bit longer jacket. You of course wouldn't, you can make it shorter if you wish. But you know, it's again, a nice open lacy pattern stitch. Look at how nice it, you see, because I have a dark dress on, or with Fontel, you see, because she's got a white shirt on, it really points up the pattern. The sleeves are just stockinette, because once you've made that statement on the body, you don't really have to make it match on the sleeves. The stockinette sleeves are fine. So this is a solid color, just one of the colors. But this one, turn around so they really get the whole, is a trio of colors. And these have been
Fabulous.
broken out into these. These are my suggestions. But you, of course, can do your own trio if you like. All of these colors are up on the site. They're up individually and they're up as these trios. So there you are. And although it's a thick yarn, it's not heavy.
It is not heavy. No, and it moves. You can
Yeah.
see that it has lovely movement to it. And so it's soft. It's very soft to the hand. And what size needle?
11.
A size 11 needle. So,
So it's a pretty quick knit.
and I like how she did the 3 combinations of color in the edgings.
Yeah.
So it employs all 3 colors there.
And it really ties that solid sleeve to this. I think in each of the trios, there's a bigger color, and that's what I suggest as the main color, but it doesn't have to be that way. Okay, I mean, when you order, there's always a place to put comments.
There is.
So you can say, oh, I really like this one, but I would rather have the pink as the main color. You can say that and we can do it. Yeah, no problem.
Put it in your note comments, say, I would like this color as my main color, and we'll make it happen.
And these are purposely boxy and oversized.
Yes.
And it's a very comfortable feel. You can see that there's not even neck shaping. It just goes straight.
It's straight up and
Right,
down.
it's just straight. So it's really easy. You don't have to be shaping lace in shaping lace. You just go, and then the neckline gives you the extra. And so this is boxy. I mean, these need to be bigger so that they lay well instead of being like this. Yeah. Which is those of you who know me know that that's a thing I do always.
Laura,
Always a thing I do. Yeah.
can you explain easily how you bury ends? Do you do it with a crochet hook? Lisa wants to know how you bury ends. So do you do it with a crochet hook, or do you do it with the tibby?
Can you understand? Carrie, we can't understand you.
Bury ends? Hold on.
Okay.
Hold that thought. She's
It's-
coming.
It's probably the really lousy mic on my computer. Okay, she's at my desktop, which,
Okay, Lisa would like to know how you bury ends. You do it with like a
So,
crochet hook
okay.
or your tibby?
yes,
Yes.
I use, a bent tip needle, a chibi bent tip needle with a wide eye. And my 2 rules for burying ends are always bury with the stitch direction, not across the stitch direction. Where do knits stretch the most? They stretch the most this way, not this way. So for your ends to pop out, they're a lot more likely to pop out in this direction, especially because think about, how do you put it on? Well, you pick it up and you shove your arm through, and this is stretching it crosswise. You put your other arm through, and that's kind of stretching it crosswise. So if the end instead is buried up along the pickup edge, or up along, well, this is knit, the body is knit in one piece to the armholes. So there isn't a side seam on this, which is a nice thing.
Before you take that off,
Yes.
can you show the back again?
Yeah.
And maybe Fontel can show her back.
Yeah, sure.
It's gorgeous.
It's so such a gratifying knit. This and then another piece that we have coming up. They're so gratifying because they're so fast.
Yeah.
And a fun stitch to do.
Yeah,
And it's
they're
not
both fun
difficult.
stitches.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're both fun. This one is a little bit interesting in that it's got, you do 2 knit togethers in a row and
Okay.
2 SSKs in a row. Yeah, so,
Right.
and they're offset by then 4 yarn overs.
Okay.
But it's what gives it is very distinct. That is those togethers are, I forget. Yeah, they're right next to each other. You know, I'm looking at this. I'm not sure she did this one right. Oh no, it's here too.
It's there.
It's here too.
Yeah.
So it makes a very thick. It's just a really interesting pattern. It's a
They
really
look so different too, between the solid and the multicolors.
This
Between the-
takes,
Yeah, no, between the solid and the multicolored, they look so different.
They do. And that's
yes,
exactly
it's a bit right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
This is
True.
much more playful.
Yes.
And but imagine that, you know, in that group. It'd be beautiful. Yeah, it would be really beautiful. The solid ones take 1 skein less because there's no waste. You don't have 3 skeins, 3
Sure.
colors with their extra waste. So are we good with this? Any other questions? Okay,
All
let's
right.
move on.
Okay.
Oh, because we have something
change.
really fun for you now.
Uh-oh, I feel my credit card burning.
Oh, this next one. Okay. So most of you probably know what wild stuff is or stuff. And most of you have probably knit with it. But in case there's someone who hasn't, back in 1990, I invented this thing called stuff. And it came about because I had, as a hand dyer, so many odds and ends skeins. And it's actually a really cute story, the genesis of stuff. So my mother was a sales rep for me in Florida. I was living in Buffalo at the time. And she said, oh, we have this Chinese menu sweater. And it was a mitered sweater. You cast on at the neck, and it was a deep V neck, and it increased along 2 angles here and in the back. So, and people were knitting it with stripes, and they called it the Chinese menu sweater because you picked a yarn from column A and a yarn from column B and blah, blah, blah. She said, I think this would work with all your odds and ends. And I said, yep, that sounds really good. So I picked 8 skeins of odds and ends, and I sent them to my knitter in a suburb of Buffalo. And I didn't really give her much instruction. I said, use these in random stripes. Don't make any one stripe too long. My mother happened to be visiting me when this sweater came back from the knitter, and we pulled the sweater out, we looked at it, and it's like, darn, this is really cute. And then my mother, who was wildly creative and not very practical, said, oh, wouldn't it be great if you could unknit it now and figure out exactly how long each yarn is so that everybody could knit it exactly like that. And I said, oh, mother, that would never work. It would never work because everybody's row gauge is different and everybody's, you know, it's just, it won't work. And as I'm telling her how dumb her idea is, I say, but maybe it doesn't matter where it starts and stops. Maybe it doesn't matter. Why does it have to, why do they all have to stop at one? Maybe it's better if they don't all stop in the same place. And thus was born stuff, which Carrie and I spent 6 months discussing it. And we kept calling it This Wild Stuff, trying to come up with a good name. And finally, one day we looked at each other and said, I think that's the name, Wild Stuff. That's This Wild Stuff. So then it proceeded to be cool stuff and neat stuff and all kinds of stuff. And we will explain all that. But basically, it is 30 plus yarns that are gauge coordinated and then hand dyed so that they present a united front. And we have not had a new stuff project pattern for a while. And this came about because someone saw me in a different pattern and said, well, I like that, but I don't like this big cowly thing here. Couldn't we just have a little popover? So we present to you the mini. This is one skein of stuff.
Oh, that's great.
One
Isn't this
skein of
fun?
stuff.
And staying.
So it's knit on a big needle. I think this was on an 11 needle again. So you can see how sheer that makes it. All right, because this is really meant to be knit on an 8 needle, but it can take it. And what it does is makes it very, fluttery and drapeable. And this is layers stuff, the color parchment, which basically is not dyed at all. And this is our good old
Denim.
standby denim. Now, the one Fontel's wearing, the first thing what often happens when I'm making a new pattern, I don't know for sure if it's gonna work with one skein. So I opted in this case to begin with a strand of symphony. So the first 4 rows are symphony, and the final 6 rows are symphony in a coordinating color. This one, I just used one skein of stuff. So you can see it's just a little bit shorter because of that. And stuff, you don't know what yarn is going to be at the beginning of your ball. It could be a textured yarn that you don't want to cast on with. Well, the nice thing about stuff is, so fine, wind through until you find a yarn that you're comfortable casting on with. Cut the knot, cast on with that yarn, and then retie the other stuff when you're well on your way. Or you can buy a skein of symphony in a coordinating color and do your cast on and bind off with like the symphony, which makes it, again, just a wee tad longer. So we have there are 4 or 5 kinds of stuff at this point.
Yes.
The original wild stuff, which is denim, what Fontel is wearing, and the original wild stuff has a lot of eyelash in it. It has a lot of metallic in it. I mean, it's the wildest of them. A lot of, nope, that's a cool. That's a wild. So there are many, many, many colors on the website. This is just a smattering of what we already had wound up. So we just went around and picked them off the shelves. And some of these are half skeins. That's why they look smaller. A half skein would only get you to about here. That might be okay. You might like that, but this look is a full skein. So this has the most eyelash. It does have about 25% kid mohair and wool, but it's not a scratchy. It's very fine. From early on, we had lots of people saying, well, I don't want any wool in it. So we made cool stuff. And cool stuff is a little less eyelash, still has, that might be all we have in cool stuff. Still has metallic in it, has lots of texture in it, and about half the amount of eyelash. Okay, so that's a smattering of cool stuff colors.
Right.
And then we've got neat stuff. Sure, we'll go to neat stuff. No. And the only one I'm going to actually name and point out here is this one, which is mallard, which is this gorgeous tonal teal. And somehow that's not on the website, but you could write in mallard, that would be fine. So neat stuff has no metallic and no eyelash. And then there is layers stuff, and layers stuff is what parchment is. Layers stuff typically is that double dye situation that I described in the colors of Athena, where we wind this white with all the yarns. Actually, we wind it like this. And then those white skeins go into 4 different dye baths. So a dye bath for the wools and animal fibers and nylons of both colors. So the undercolor and then the final color. And they look really weird because it's only half dyed. And you can kind of see that here because the purples took darker in the wools and nylons than they did in the cottons, which is not that unusual. It's hard to get cotton to dye strongly. So after the wools are dyed, then it goes to a different dye bath to dye the cottons and the rayons. And again, it's 2 dye baths. So, you know, these are $95 a skein, but that means this is $95,
Exactly.
which is not a deal breaker. It's pretty spectacular looking. To make this, it takes me, who's really fast because I invented it and I know, it takes me at least a half an hour to assemble the yarns for one of these. And then it goes through the 4 dye baths. And then it goes through the washing process and the softening process. We have a commercial grade, really fantastic softener. That's part of what makes Prism yarns feel so good. And then it gets wound down into its 300-yard skein to go to you, the customer. And since I have no more employees, it is me doing all of that, every step of it. So yes, it is a 300-yard skein. So there's a lot of yardage there. And it is, well, we used to always say, oh, it's 30 to 40 yarns, but that's my,
Yes.
my thing there. And there's only 1 yarn that's repeated on that. So I said to my husband the other day, I said, how many yarns do I have? He said 56. So it goes through 56 different yarns. And again, they're gauge coordinated. You can see that some of them are thicker than others and some are thinner, but it's
That's
not
the beauty of it.
right. It's not a
Absolutely.
substantial, it's not on a number 8 needle, it presents a solidish fabric. On the number 11 needle, you see the thinner yarns more than you would. So
I
there we
got excited. I picked out my color.
I'm sorry, say, you know what?
I got excited. I picked out my color. Oh.
So we're not, is it Carrie we're not hearing? Or is it anybody else?
Yeah,
It's
it's
you.
Carrie. Okay.
You
She's
know,
coming.
yeah, sorry, guys.
You know
She's
what,
gonna get
Carrie?
her steps in tonight.
When Carrie comes, I just want
Oh,
to tell
yeah.
you how
I picked out
easy.
my color.
Yeah.
I already picked out.
Yeah,
mine.
yeah,
I love it.
and that's
I do.
Jade.
This is so easy
Yeah.
to where you just drop it over your head and you don't futz around with it. It
No,
just covers.
Right,
For people like me that don't want to show my upper arm, I could still have a short sleeve shirt, but I'm still covered. So it has wonderful drape, not a lot of weight to it. Simple as can be. This is really a testimony where it's all about the yarn. Simple stockinette stitch and let the yarn do the work.
and behind Fontel is, oh yeah, the baby Goldilocks. Now this was done a number of years ago, and it's the same basic shape, but we added plume, which is our faux fur, at the neck and bottom. So if you wanted that more substantial look, we have plenty of plume. It's all behind this. It's all behind this, and we can have plume in to match any color that that we have in stock, anything. So that's kind of fun. But I will say that the plume makes it more of a winter garment.
It does. Yes.
I think
I
that
agree.
this is totally a year-round. This, you know, this in Florida, this is going to be my new thing that goes in my purse because look, you know, it's just not very big, or it can drape over the over my purse. And if I need it, I've got it. And so that's what I have learned living in Florida is that, yeah.
It's
Pretty much
just,
year
and
round.
it's a lot of fun to see what's coming next. If you haven't knit on stuff, you'll be at a ribbon one time, then you're going to come to some texture yarn, then you're going to come to a little metallic, and it's just so much fun. I find most of my customers that do this, they love knitting on because it's fast. They want to see what's coming up next, and that's what the fun that
Yeah.
stuff really gives you. It's like, oh, another surprise coming up.
Yeah.
So
Laura, which stuff is the white cape made?
This is parchment layers stuff.
Okay.
So parchment is
what's-
the color and layers stuff is the type.
Okay, and could you go over what the difference is between the different stuff
Yes.
again?
Yep. The wild has about 25% animal fibers in it. Lots of eyelash, lots of metallic.
Okay,
Cool has lots of metallic, no animal fibers, and not as much eyelash.
okay,
Neat has about 30% animal fibers, no metallic, no eyelash.
okay,
And layers has maybe 20% animal fibers, no eyelash, but metallic, although not a lot.
okay.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
A couple people with some stuff collections already are wondering, will this pattern be available on its own?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. We're calling it the mini. So I don't, do you have a
Yep.
place to order patterns, just patterns? You
You
can always write it in your comments.
Exactly, right, yeah. Or call the store.
Yeah.
If you,
Yeah.
you know, if you have any difficulties at
Yeah.
all, just call the store,
Yeah.
say, I want a copy of the
Yeah.
mini pattern.
I have it in a, in a reasonable condition right now, but I'm going to make it even more complete when I knit another one. So it'll get better in another few weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. Another week.
So,
Yeah, I'll probably
Yeah.
start knitting it right away. So,
how
yeah.
long did that take you?
Oh, I knit this on the plane from here to
Yeah.
Buffalo.
So. It's pretty quick.
Maybe I finished it the next day there, but yeah. Yes, it's quick.
All right, any other questions for Laura?
Okay.
All right,
All right.
I'm going to do my Vantage out.
Yes, here we go. All right. Okay. Yep, you're gonna wear that one. I'm gonna wear this one. Then I'll also put that one. Okay. And we want to dump that box. Yeah. Okay, so in this thick yarn mode that I happen to be in, this is an amazing little yarn, big yarn called Calypso. And probably you have never seen Calypso. Why I have 2 skeins of willow, I don't know. I don't need 2 skeins of willow. It is a very thick cotton and rayon bumpy blend. And what I've done is to make up a boyfriend jacket. And I think you probably all know what I mean by a boyfriend jacket. It's big and oversized and slouchy with a pocket. And get these out here and then hide those ugly labels. Okay, we have no rhyme or reason to these colors at the moment. So I started by making this one. And this uses 1 skein each of 5 colors. And this, it's very oversized. This is what I am calling the large, and it's a 48. But it's the size that, whoops, it's the size that I would wear. It's the size that looks right on me. It does have 3 big buttons, but it doesn't, you don't have to button them. It has a nice little pocket there. The sleeves are not real generous because that's my personal preference. I like sleeves that are a little bit narrower. It's generous enough that you can put a sleeve underneath it, a garment underneath it, but not so big as to make you look like you're wearing, you know, whatever. This is a trick. And I know that big sleeves are coming back in style, but be cautious of that because it's not necessarily the most flattering. You want the sleeve. I mean, there's ease here, but it's not down to here. And that is a bit, that A, uses a lot more yarn, and B, makes it much heavier, puts all this fabric underneath your arm and makes you look bigger. So, so this is very fun in its color blockness. But I knew that in order to make a larger size, I didn't want people to have to buy 10 skeins, and I used every bit to make this size. So we're only offering this specific arrangement up to a large, but I jiggered it around and changed the blocks and forced one color to become a main color. So there's 2 skeins of that main color, which happens to be this. So there's 2 skeins of that. So you can see this is, whoa, need to fall off my little stool. It's much bigger. It's really too big for me. I don't feel real comfortable in it, but my friend Brigitte, who's the one pictured wearing it, is more slender than I am, but taller, and it looks fabulous on her. So it's a little bit different of a plan. But if you need to go up to the bigger size, this is the one that you want. Okay. So we're calling this color Beach, and the other color is Jewel Box, I think. And then I thought this would be great, solid. Okay, so here we have Fontel, and she's wearing the medium, which is a 41.
Beautiful.
And again, has this cute
Has a
little
little
pocket.
pocket.
Love the pocket.
Big oversized buttons.
So, and Laura, we had some questions. This yarn is 80% cotton and 20% rayon. It comes in an 8-ounce skein, and it has 145 yards. Suggested needle size actually says 13.
Okay, yes. I think
11,
that this-
11, 13,
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, I think the cuts are 11 and the body is 13. You want, it's not holy. I mean, you know, you can't see my hand through it. You can't
No.
see Fontel's white shirt
Right.
through it. So it's not holy, but I think at 11, I thought it was a little boardy. So I went up to the
Little bit.
13 and it
Okay.
opened it up just a little bit, and that opening it up makes it just a little more drapey. So, okay, it's five skeins at 8 ounces each. That's 2.5 pounds. But when you have it on your body, it doesn't feel like 2.5 pounds.
Yeah, it doesn't at all. No.
No.
And I have great movement with this. Laura.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, yeah. It's a little bit that we're asking you to take this on faith, but because Carrie and Fontel first saw it on Zoom and they're like, yeah, right, Laura. So I'm going to let you talk about it when you
Okay.
actually picked it up and put it on.
Right. So, and it's hefty. When I lifted it up, it was heavy, and I thought, okay, I'll put it on. Well, the minute I got it on, it's like any other sweater at all. So I think that it translates to the body, not as a heavy garment, but just, it just stays in place. So it's a very interesting yarn. It has tons of texture. You're going to get thick and thin places. It's got almost a little boucle look to it as well. And so I think like in Laura's sleeve, you can see highs and lows because
Right.
of the layering colors. So it's a very unique yarn.
So we have all of these colors named on the site. You can pick this colorway, you can pick this colorway, or you can pick your own 5 colors.
Yes, exactly.
It's one skein each of 5 colors. So that's how you would order it, and then pattern. So,
But if cardigans aren't your thing,
yeah.
well, wait till you see the next piece. So Laura designed a short sleeve pullover, stripes on the top. It's just adorable.
So this is 3 skeins, 2 of the main color and 1 of the accent
It's-
color, and a tight little armhole because I don't like my stuff hanging out there.
Yep.
And it doesn't necessarily look great with my blue dress, but
It looks
it's
fine.
not- But with shorts or jeans or linen pants, it's kind of great. And again, talk about instant gratification. This is instant gratification.
It's adorable.
Yeah, it takes so little time to do it. And I love, it's a great use of the Fibonacci here.
Okay, so
Really,
yes.
really excellent use of the Fibonacci.
So you can see that when she bottom up.
Yep.
So narrow, narrow, the stripe gets a little thicker, a little wider as it goes up, and that's, it's that magic number combination, so.
And it's all
yeah.
specified. You know,
Yes.
it's all specified. And because it's stockinette, so yes, you do one row of that color. Well, what do you do with it? You just let it sit there. When you need it again, you go to that, you have to do it on circular needles, so you can just push to the other side and pick it up. So you don't ever have to bury, you don't have ends to bury, just the 6 from the 3 skeins. That's it. Otherwise, so you're doing stripes, but you're not cutting and having to bury them all the time. You can carry them along the side edge. And yeah, it's boxy, it's big, and it needs to be big. But again, see that drape? It's thick yarns often don't work because they're so stiff. And what happens is they give you a new size, which is whatever the size of that boxy garment. Whereas a yarn that has some drape like this, it's just yeah, it works. It's just different. It works. So, do I have any questions about Calypso?
What colors are those in that sweater?
This one,
Yes,
zinnia on the top and shale on the bottom.
okay.
And I really love shale. It's a grade brown. So it's really neutral, but it looks fantastic with lots of different colors.
Hmm.
That's cute.
Yeah. And shale's a great base color. Mushroom is essentially a lighter version of shale, so you could get the same sort of effect from that. But look at how nice that is.
Do they all have that
Sure.
quality to them,
No,
or are some of them
let's
more
go a
solid?
little bit later.
Okay, hang on. There were two
I'm
people.
in the middle of a Zoom thing.
The person who just said I'm in
Yeah.
the middle of a Zoom thing, could you mute yourself? Okay, so the person who asked the question, could you ask that again?
I had asked if they're all tonal like the Xenia was, or if some of them are more solid.
Some of them are more solid. You actually you can pretty much tell in the photographs if you zoom in to a larger bit. You can see if you see hints of colors. Okay, so the layers colors are, this is a solid, this is a solid, this is a solid, this is a solid. Everything else, all of the rest of these are a layers color of some kale of some kind or another. Some of them are more subtle than others, but the only truly solid ones are these 4. And even then, it's not really solid. See the you get lights and darks because that's what hand dyeing does. And also that's what the fact that rayon and cotton, it's not. So the construction of this is that it's a really poofy cotton, and that poofy cotton is what makes these big slubs with a rayon clayey kind of strand wrapped around it. So even within a solid, you're going to have lights and darks because the rayon and the cotton are always a little bit different.
Is that knitted in the round or front and back?
This one
Separate
has seams,
pieces.
but you could knit it in the round. I just like seams. I do. I always have. But you could knit in the round up to here, sure.
This is so cute.
Yeah, it's kind of adorable.
It's
Yeah, I really like it. And with all that cotton, yeah, I mean, unless you're someone who, for me, even in Florida, I would wear this. I would wear this outdoors. This wouldn't bother me at all. No.
This could actually be a swimsuit cover up too.
Yeah, it could. If you wanted it to be, and if you wanted it to be a little longer, you just get a
Absolutely.
4th skein. Yeah, and it would do it.
Yeah.
Because it's boxy enough.
Yeah.
There's enough room here that even if it was just straight, this could easily be
Sure.
You know, another skein would get you down to here, and it could be a swimsuit cover up. Be a little mini dress. Are you getting bold? And
Yeah, exactly. I must be. What was I thinking? Oh my God.
Are there any other questions about Calypso? Okay. Great. Do you have, is there an empty one? Oh. Okay, now take me a moment to set up. This is a little off season for right now. However, for all of you who are who are sequin lovers, our sequin yarn Shimmerati is almost gone. So when it's gone, it's gone. I'm not going to be getting more. I'm not really retiring just yet, but I think that the handwriting is on the wall. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this forever. So we have pulled together some color combinations here for a poncho that the only people who have seen on the planet are the people who were here in St. Petersburg last April for our event, which will be some of you, maybe many of you, I don't know. But we happen to think it's a pretty fabulous 3, 4. Some of this isn't wound yet, so that's why you're seeing it in the raw, as it were. I'm not quite sure how these are all going to fit on here, but I'll figure something out. 5. Oops, that's 7. Where's my 5 number? Oh, well, I'm going to put it between 4 and 6, and then it will be figured out, or it'll show up. Okay, just one moment, and then I'll be able to explain what this all is.
Yeah, I'm tired.
And I'm looking on the. No, let me get this out, and I'll get this so that you can actually see things. Which means that I can push. Oh, there we go. Okay. I have to look at the screen to see what is working, and as we go along, as people are interested, we can unencumber it and make it so that you can see better what's going on. Oh, okay. We get a 5. I'm going to. Back here. Okay, so what this concoction is Shimmerati, which is our sequin yarn, put with otter. And Chantel's going to put the short one on. Remember, you're going to put it on with the seam in the back. So this is a simple rectangular poncho with one seam. So it's a long rectangle. It's a long rectangle with a notch for the neck. Okay, and I notched the neck because otherwise this goes straight across and you wind up with this big hunk of fabric right here, and I like it to sort of sit better. And we just kind of discovered this morning that this looks really cool this way. So this is just turned so that the points are on the two sides. So see how you are getting the shimmer of the shimmerati, both in color and the sequins. And that's from the pattern stitch, which is an interesting little box mosaic pattern stitch. But because otter is so furry, it has quite a luscious pile on it. Because it's so furry, that the shimmerati is very subtle. It kind of buries itself underneath. So it's a way to wear sequins that isn't in your face. Now, what we have to say about otter is that you can't stop
I know.
touching yourself. It is so soft. If you've ever wanted to have a fur and you couldn't bring yourself to have a fur because we don't want to kill animals, this is indeed the next best thing. So there's two sizes on this. This is the bigger one. And frankly, I decided after I made this that it was too big. So I made the slightly smaller one,
Okay.
which I love this way, but it also could be worn the way that it was originally intended with,
There we go.
there we go.
There's the smaller one.
Yeah, so there's the smaller one. So this isn't such a fit. I think it was on a size 7 needle, but it's not an outrageously awful knit. And the big thing about this is just the feel of it.
The
You
feel.
just cannot imagine how soft this
Yeah.
is.
The other thing about otter, those of you that might be reluctant to be knitting on a yarn that's highly textured, you'll see that it's just the hairs come off a solid core. The core is the only thing that's on your needle, and the hairs are straight. There's not like a boucle, so your needle is not going to get stuck in it. It's easy to knit. The thing I would tell you is to try and have a contrasting color between your knit, your yarn and the needle, so you can see it. But it's really not difficult to knit at all.
What you just said is really important, because the one thing that can happen is if you're knitting in a place where the light isn't so great or whatever, you can put your needle into what you think is the stitch, and really all you're putting it in is the hairs.
You just need the
So then you
contrast.
have a drop stitch. So yeah, so you need to have a dark wood needle if you're knitting on a light thing, or a light wood needle if you're knitting on a dark thing, or whatever. So we've put these colors together because there is no more shimmerati to be dyed. The only shimmerati that is remaining is dyed. So we have picked combinations that will work. And I will say that you have to have some contrast. You have to have some contrast. So in this case, both of these, the otter is dark, and the shimmerati is a light color. In some of these, we've gone the other way, where the shimmerati, no, this is where, wait, we did go the other way. Wait, where did we go the other way? Well, here. So here, that's going to show up because A, there's a big color contrast, and B, that dark red is going to show up underneath the shale. So it's not that everything is going to work. Not everything is going to work, but these are all going to work. Yeah, these are all going to work. So we have this, I'll try to make them more seeable. This dark reddish combination with a taupe, and kind of in a similar vein, we have black with bright red, which really would be stunning. And then that same taupe here with, yeah, there's a one where it's
That's it,
lighter.
exactly,
Oh, there's the
yeah.
5.
Well, there we are.
We knew it had to be in there.
There is.
With this beautiful embers color. So you're going to have a lighter colored piece with the dark colors peeking through. There we go. This one is probably the most contrasting one. This otter is not black, it's mink. And if you know my colors, you know that means it's black and brown. So it's black and brown, and then it has the dune colored shimmerati with it. This one would be really beautiful. I just dyed this lapis colored otter, and we think that with that, it's going to be a little more
Yeah.
subtle. There's not quite as much light and dark contrast here. So it's going to be a little bit more subtle, but they're going to show through. And this is all-time favorite fog. Everybody loves fog. And there's a beautiful plum for that. This is fun. It's a warm golden brown with, stay over there, with orchard. So that's going to really show through. And the final one is this denim-y, turquoisey denim-y with cream and light blue. So those are our options. It's possible we could do something else. There are some mostly solid colors. I can do either of these. There's one more set of either of these.
Okay.
Okay. I didn't put them out with another color because I didn't want to, I didn't want to mix up the pot. But we're looking at the only other multicolor I have is Blue Lagoon, and we just didn't have any otter that was dyed that would look good with it. But
Can we get up close and
Yes,
show
we
them actually
can.
the checkerboard of this?
we can't.
I think sometimes when you're far away, you don't necessarily see all of the slip stitch check.
I
That's
just
got it.
pulled my earring off,
Checkerboard.
but
A checkerboard pattern underneath it. And you see it as you move, not
Right.
necessarily far away.
Right.
It's and again, as you go across the shoulder. So Laura's going to try and get close. There you go. Isn't that fun?
it's a little garter stitch mosaic pattern. So it's easy.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
I'd like to say too, that it's pretty lightweight. This piece
Yeah.
feels lightweight.
Yeah.
And for anyone who hasn't knitted on otter or plume, which is the longer hair, this feels cool when you touch it, when you
Oh,
put your
yeah.
hand on it.
You're right.
And I always say this, it feels cool. It's just amazing to me.
Yeah, it's very
so soft
silky.
to wear that you don't ever really want to take it off. Yeah, it's fabulous.
And only nylons were harmed making it.
Yes.
Yeah. Pantyhose. Yeah,
Got it.
get them off.
It's amazing how different nylon can be.
Yeah.
And really, that's what we have for you tonight. Just those things. We
Yeah.
decided to keep it short and sweet. But we would be happy to revisit anything that you might have questions about.
Laura, I'll take fog.
Okay. Who was that?
Maria.
Okay. Hi, Maria.
Hello.
Thank you, Maria. All
You're
right.
welcome.
Can you tell us about the shawl that you have behind in the purple?
This one,
Yes.
this is the exact same thing as the mini that we were looking at earlier, but it has plume on both the neck and the bottom. It needs 2 skeins of plume to do that. So any of the stuff colors has a coordinating color in plume.
Thank
And
you
that
so much.
pattern, I mean, we call that the baby bear Goldilocks pattern. So that pattern exists and includes instruction on how to put the plume in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Somebody's asked if it's too hot for Florida, and I said, no, you wear
This?
yours constantly, but maybe you could address that.
So I wouldn't probably wear this now in Florida. It's a little, too much for now. But you know, if you're like me, I don't really have a coat anymore. I mean, I just throw things on when it's cold, and this is perfect. It's like a really fancy sweatshirt in a way, right? It's because it looks so great. The nice thing about this kind of a garment is whatever you have underneath, it fits. So if you've got long sleeves and they happen to be wider,
It fits.
it doesn't have to fit
Your
into
arms
a
are always
sleeve.
free to
Your arms
use.
are always free,
So
and it's so soft and so cozy that when, you know, I mean, it's easily 50 degrees here in St. Petersburg in the middle of the winter. And this is like the perfect thing for that. In April, maybe not. You know, you're going to get probably 4 or 5 months use of it in Florida. Yes, Carrie.
Lapis is gone.
Lapis is gone. Okay, that's this one. That's a fabulous color. I love this color. Okay, excellent. Yep. Woo. I did take pictures of these with their numbers.
Excellent.
Okay. So, so while everybody's pondering those, does anybody have any questions about anything? Is there anything you want me to pull back and look at? Just let me know. It's now or never. Oh, that works. There we go. Yeah. Why did it take me so long to figure that out?
Hey, Laura.
Yes.
Laura, may I please see that Calypso tee again? That is so pretty.
You betcha. Want me to put it on again?
Please.
Okay, so I'm gonna walk over and kind of show you closer. And then I'll come back and put it on again. So you can really see all the texture.
Uh-huh. Oh, different textures in the yarn. I see.
Yeah, yep.
Susan Simmons, if you'll just hang on with us to the end of this recording, I've got some Merino Mia to show you, just by the by.
So there we are. I just got some white linen pants. There you go. It's gonna be perfect with that. Yeah. And frankly, if you wanted a little sleeve, you could do it. You could do it just by casting on. You know, get up to the armhole and just cast on some. Although you would need another skein of yarn because this used pretty much all of the yarn, I think. That's a good question.
Oh, if you wanted the sleeves longer, is that what you're
Yeah,
saying? If you
yeah,
wanted
right. But you know what? I'm gonna go see if that's true. Hang on.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna weigh this and see how much it actually.
Then she can tell us if there are any leftovers.
No, this took it all. I mean,
Okay.
this took, yeah. So we would have to have another. You would have to have another skein. So that being the case, if you wanted sleeves, I would probably buy another skein of this color and pick them up and knit them down. I think that's what would be cute,
Mhm.
but it could be either color.
Okay.
And if you've never done Fibonacci numbers, it's fun.
It is fun.
It's fun
Exactly.
because it's really what happens is this color is decreasing as it goes up, while this color is increasing as it goes up. So you wind up with them crossing in the middle where they're exactly the same. And I think it's 3 rows and 3 rows. No, actually, yeah, it's 3 rows and 3 rows right here. And then it goes bigger and smaller as you go.
The name of that color?
Parchment. This is parchment. And it might not have been on the, it might not have been on the site. Oh, because we kind of added it because people said we want something that doesn't really have any color. We just want creams. So it is called parchment.
All right, number 2 is gone.
Okay.
I love the platinum in that.
Platinum is an absolutely gorgeous color. I think we have a skein of platinum. Platinum has an undertone of blue. So it's a very cool gray.
Oh, I love that.
And it looks much bluer on this screen than it looks in reality. So it's grayer than what I'm seeing, at least on my screen, right? Do you agree with me,
Yeah.
ladies? This is grayer.
Yeah.
than It's looking
Oh,
there.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's great.
But it has blue undertones to
It
it
does
for
have
sure.
blue undertones. Hang
Yeah.
on, I'm gonna come back here. Yeah,
It's
I don't
like
know. I don't know why
steel
it's looking,
Steely.
because computers are not perfect. That's why. But it's definitely gray, not blue, just with a blue undertone.
Mhm.
But it's, some of them get more light and dark tones in them. This is one that does.
Yes, for sure.
Mhm. So there's grayer parts and bluer parts.
It is really pretty.
Anything else we can show you guys?
I have two questions.
Uh-huh.
So I have three things I've picked out that I want. So I just go on the website to go ahead and order those?
Yeah.
And-
Yes.
And how do I
Yeah.
get to that website again?
It's www.greatyarns.com.
Okay,
And the quickest way to get to the presentation today is on the home screen. You'll see a listing for events. Click on events, and that will pull up the Prism 2023 Zoom.
mm-hmm,
Then you'll find all of these kits there. So when,
Okay.
like Maria, you just ordered the Shimarati. Go to the website, order it online, and put in, I want fog.
okay, okay, excellent.
There's
Be
a
making-
foot lapis. Yeah.
That'll
Kathy,
probably
you're
then
gonna
go
be
with my other order.
And just make note that you want to tell me what size you want.
Yes, I will.
Because there's different,
Right.
there's
Yes.
the little one and there's the bigger one.
Right.
You can also click on the link that's in the chat, because we put the link in there, so you can click on
Oh,
that
oh,
to go
good.
to
That's
the
quick.
webpage.
Yeah,
Good.
and that's quick.
Okay.
Oh, great. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Laura, I have a question about the boyfriend sweater.
Uh-huh.
Is it possible to do it in two colors, to do the main sweater in one color and then the pockets and the button band in another color?
And the
Cute idea.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So
Okay.
I think that you definitely need one skein for the pocket and the button band, obviously. I think you're still going to need 5 skeins for the body,
Okay.
unless you're making the small. And if
I
you make,
probably will make the small.
okay, then you can get away with 4 skeins for the main color and 1 skein trim. Yeah,
Okay.
it would be adorable.
Okay. It'll sort of
what-
look like a varsity sweater.
Yeah, it will. And
Yeah.
and what might be fun is to make the pocket solid, but make the
the
the button band striped.
Then stripes, yeah.
See, the same way that I did on this,
Mm-hmm.
this one just has 1 stripe in it. In the
Right.
it's the blue and then it's got 1 stripe. And
Right.
yeah, and this one I just did it solid.
Okay.
That's
Okay, good.
Are in loam. I'm not quite sure.
Loam is a browner look. Hang on, I've got, it's not in the skein, I mean, it's not in a cream form, but.
It's so nice that we're in the warehouse. She can actually leave the table,
Yeah,
go to her drawing racks and pick out colors for you. So
now we love being here doing that.
absolutely.
So
Here comes loam.
loam is made by dyeing first rust and then gray over the top of it. So it's a browner. It's got more brown. Carrie's going to hold it closer. More brown, and it's similar to shale, but it's got more rustiness underneath it. So it's more of a true brown.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Nice color. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Laura, could I
No.
see the Athena cardigan again? The lace cardi,
Yes. You want to see the solid one or the one with 3 colors?
solid
Oh, the lace cardi, the green one. Yes.
lace cardi.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
first
no.
one.
Yep. Okay. So it's a big rectangle. Would you hold one end?
Sure.
Chantel? Because then I can say, so it's a big rectangle and you increase along the bottom here. And because it's a lace pattern, increasing is a little funky.
Yeah.
Just keep your stitch count correct. It doesn't really matter how you do it. I tried it 10 different ways and you can't see that, can you? So decide on a way that works for you, and just, I put a stitch marker in, and I move it. So the stitch marker is at the end of the repeat, and then you do the increases as you're told. And then when you have 4 more stitches, which is a repeat, you move the marker again. And because you're increasing at the end of the row, you never have to worry about getting off on the pattern, because you're always starting at the right place. So I made that as simple as I could make it. This could easily have long sleeves or shorter sleeves, either way. I kind of liked that elbow length sleeve.
I love this piece.
Yeah. And what I like, it does a really interesting thing. It makes a little fold right here and a little fold right here. And it's I don't know how to describe that, but you see what it does right here, where it's folding. Yeah, it's like a pleat. It's really cool.
The 3 of us had that on today.
Yeah.
It was
And
so
it looked
cute.
good on every one of us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just like
all
the
3 of us
boyfriend
tried
did.
it on and it looked good on all of us.
Yeah.
So I think it's very forgiving. And
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm not
Okay, thank you,
standing in
Laura.
the chat, so if you have questions, unmute yourself.
yeah,
Since she has to run back and forth anyway.
exactly.
Carrie, you should put this on and
put
just show them, on someone else what it looks like. And I'm going to step behind you and have a drink.
What kind of?
There you go.
I have kind of a long top, but I just love this.
Yeah, but you know what? It's cute on that long top.
Yeah,
It actually works.
I love
You
it.
could wear that on that long top.
Got to pick my color before we go. We're back at the
All right.
store tomorrow.
No,
Tomorrow
day
night.
after tomorrow.
Day after
Yeah,
tomorrow.
that's true. It's a long day tomorrow.
Yeah, long day.
Yeah, we are flying home tomorrow. So, if you're ordering and whatnot, just know that first thing bright and early on Tuesday morning, we will be addressing all of those orders. And so if I don't have all of these things in the store, which I most likely won't, just know that Laura is going to drop ship for us. So we'll put the order in through her and she'll ship it directly to you. So we can expedite the shipping time.
We're in the warehouse tomorrow too.
Yeah.
So
Yes, we'll kind of look.
you can get a
Yeah.
hold of us
Yeah,
by
you
cell
can.
phone or
And
Yes.
most stuff colors are in stock.
Yeah.
There are a few that I only make on order. So some of them have to be made on order, and if it has to be made on order, it's going to take a couple weeks. But if it's in stock, probably will ship by the end of the week or early next week at the latest. I have to wind them. They're not in, I have to measure, I have to measure the 300 yards. But the Athena and the Calypso, those colors are all in stock. Good. They're all in stock. So it's just a question of me finalizing the pattern, which they're written. I just have to, pretty up my schematics.
Okay.
Yeah, and format it, and they'll be good to go. So they'll ship probably next week.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, comments?
That was a wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you.
Yeah,
I love seeing the sweaters come to life.
Yeah, it's fun. It's
Yeah.
so much different than even. We were laughing because if you've looked at the website, the pictures of our friend Brigitte, she was so playful the day that I took those pictures that they're the best set of pictures we've ever had from her. She's just looks like she's having so much fun, and that's been true. So I'm just
Don't retire, Laura.
I know.
It's a ways away.
Okay.
You know what? As long as I'm still having fun, I'm still doing it.
So
Okay.
thank you for joining us today.
Yeah. And did I hear Jan's voice in there? Jan Lee, are you
She's here.
there?
I'm here. I somehow got the time wrong, so I came in very late.
Well, you can watch the recording.
Absolutely.
I'm just happy to hear your voice. I just have been thinking of you, and
I appreciate that. It's been a rough few months, as you know,
know.
very well. But yeah,
Gotcha.
life is good.
well, we're glad you're here.
Absolutely. All righty. Thank you all very much for joining us.
Thank you.
It means the world and all to us.
Yeah, it
That,
does.
that you took the time to share a Sunday with us.
Yeah.
You know, Carrie and I had a blast coming down.
Oh, yeah.
We played in this warehouse for hours and we're gonna be here all day tomorrow
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So
We have Amy in the office and we
Yeah.
didn't introduce Amy, but
I'm,
we couldn't have
yes,
done this without her
No.
because she had to turn this on and
She
she had
did.
to come in on Sunday
her part,
because
yes,
Zoom has changed
exactly.
the way they interact. So Amy, shout out to
Yes,
you.
shout out to
Thank
Amy
you.
as
All
well.
right.
Thank you so much.
And we're going to say goodbye. So
Yeah,
Amy, you
absolutely.
can close
Okay.
it all out. You can end
Nice
this.
to catch up with you again, Laura.
Oh, wait,
Susan,
okay, hang on,
wait, hang on.
No,
Amy, don't.
yeah,
Safe,
Simmons.
safe travels
okay.
to you,
Thank
Fontel.
you very
Right,
much.
right, Susan.
Bye.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye.
I hope I get to see you in person again someday.
There
Hope
you
so.
go.
Hope so.
Take care.
Nice to see you again.
Thanks,